Hi, I'm Doug, your tech support representative here at Atlantic British. In this video we're going to cover our new Clearview mirrors for the LR3. We want to show you the installation. It's a little bit different from LR4 and from the Sport, so we're going to show you in a little more detail. These are really nice mirrors that extend out, great for trailering. Even if you want to replace the original mirrors just for a better viewing behind the vehicle, they're a great addition to the vehicle. So let's show you how to put them on and show you what they look like. So just a quick rundown on the tools that you're going to need to make the changeover. One, you're going to need a number 2 Phillips, or for us lazy guys, we like to use a little power tool. You have a 10mm and a 7mm 1/4" drive socket, 1/4" drive ratchet, 1/4" drive extension, and a little pry tool. And I prefer the vinyl tools so that you don't mar any paint or hurt any vinyl, just for popping that door panel off. So let's begin. All right, we're going to start with the one tool I forgot to mention, little pocket screwdriver. What we're going to do is the Land Rover emblem that's here has to be popped out, and that's going to expose a screw in behind it. And then pop that out, and then behind the door handle, if you raise out, you see a little round piece here. We're going to basically just sneak in underneath it, and that pops out, exposing the screw. And take that right out. So then we take our Phillips and we're going to run those 2 screws out. Now, even though it looks like a solid piece, this cover right here on the handle needs to come up. Now, these are on here pretty tight, so you take your small little screwdriver, and just underneath you can get a fingernail in there, just enough to raise that out. So what you have is a line of little tabs along the bottom here. Once you pop the bottom out, then you need to get up on the top and lift up. And out. Doing that's going to expose 4 screws, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and this is what locks this handle onto the door. We're going to zip those 4 screws out. And then last but not least, you'll see 2 openings at either end of this bottom tray, and they also have a Phillips screw in there. Okay, so they're run out. So now essentially we're ready to take this door panel off. Before we do, we're going to get into the top of the speaker housing here. And there's just a small plastic pop rivet in there that you're just going to release that from. And this will come out with the door. And what we're going to do essentially is just, we don't need to disconnect all the wiring. We're just going to take this out and set it down. I usually like to start in the bottom corner here. Brace the door, pull back a little bit. And just insert the tool and work it all the way around to pop that off. Now, taking account. Okay, you're going to have a wire here, so we're just going to set that down just like so. So here's your connection right here. Now, depending on what options are on the mirror, this connector may be a little different, so you actually end up getting 2 additional wiring harness jumpers that come with the mirror. So regardless of what options are there, you'll have the wiring harness to connect it. So on this one's pretty much the basic, just electric, non-heated. We squeeze that tab and lift up, and then you've got the 3 bolts right here that hold that on. These are 7mm heads. We'll just run those out, either yourself or have a helper, somebody just to support the mirror. You can take the 2 bottom one out without any effect. When you take the top one out, have your hand underneath the mirror. So we've got the 4 bolt, we got the 3 bolts out, and we're just going to support the wire here. This is going to essentially snake right out. And then be careful with the connector, fit that through the hole, and your mirror is out. Alright, so we have our rubber gasket. We want to make sure that's in place. And we're going to snake our wire through. And set the mirror back up in place. And just to make life easier, we're going to put the top one in first, because once that goes in 4 or 5 threads, you may have to look in the hole just to line it up. So we've got the top bolt in. That'll also help us line up the bottoms, because we'll need to wiggle this around until you feel the screw basically seat in the hole. And we'll just run that in. Now, as I said, you can see these are a larger bolt, and they've done that because the mirrors being of a heavier material and size, you want the heavier bolts to hold that in place. So you're going to need a 10mm socket. Put those on. So we'll switch that over. Now, there's really no torque spec on these bolts, so essentially what you're going to do is first we're just going to run them all in snug so they're seated. And once we've got them just seated, and we're just going to give them a little twist to lock them down. You feel when they stop, and then just a little tug. They stop, tug, stop, tug. There we go. So we're in nice and tight. So as I mentioned earlier, you get the different wiring harnesses. So we have the small gray connector on this that matches up with what's in the vehicle, and we plug that in, and we plug that in, and that's it. Essentially, a mirror is in. Now, something I'm going to show you real quick that you may run into when you take these door panels off. On occasion, and you see how easily that one popped out, this is the connection for the outside for the door latch to the inside door handle that's on the trim panel. You'll see you have a little metal barrel in there, and that metal barrel needs to line up and drop into this slot right here. And you can see when I move this, this is part of the inside door release handle. So we take the sloped end, and that's going to get tucked in, and you want to move the handle so that that opening lines up so that that barrel drops into it. And I don't know if I can do this where you can be able to see it because it's kind of tight. And we tuck the nose of it in first. Okay, and then you can see the barrel. You can see the opening. And that actually pushes in and then has a little plastic tab on it that you should feel pop. And you just give it a wiggle to make sure. Now, before you put the door handle on, grab the handle. You should feel resistance about halfway out when you do that. So that tells you you're in. So to put the door panel back on, you'll notice on the top of the door, we ended up revealing these 5 clips. And what they're going to do is line up with slots in the top of the trim panel. We'll show you those. So now you see the slots. And those clips are going to line up, and you can see them, and you can actually feel they wiggle back and forth, and it'll drop right in. That will also line up pretty much all the door pins all the way around that hold this on. So from there, we just pop it all on all the way around. We'll double check that before we put the screws in, so the inner door handle works. So now it's just reverse the process of reinstalling the 2 bottom screws, the 4 screws in the handle, the screw in the back behind the Land Rover emblem, and also the screw right behind the door release. And then we're going to pop the 2 pieces of trim on. And then when you go to put the handle back on, you have 2 tabs on the top. They drop in first, and then you just pop in the bottom. And that's essentially it. You're done putting your mirror back on. Now the driver's side will be an identical procedure. You should be able to change both mirrors within less than an hour. So it's a really nice changeover and a really nice addition to your LR3. Alright, so when you're ready to add your Clearview mirrors onto your 06 to 09 LR3, just give a call to any of our knowledgeable salesmen at 1-800-533-2210. Or if you'd like, you can click on this link and order online. And if you happen to like our video and would like to see more about your Land Rover, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch more videos. So we thank you for watching, and Rover on.